Hello, I'm James, a physical therapy assistant with West Park Rehab and Diagnostics. We're here today to talk about cardiopulmonary reconditioning. What is cardiopulmonary reconditioning? It's designed for individuals whose main issues are with stamina and endurance. So who is appropriate for cardiopulmonary reconditioning? It would be patients that are suffering from things like long-term illness or deconditioning, those with pulmonary insufficiencies secondary to COPD or emphysema, those suffering from long-term immobility, even associated with things like COVID. So what types of things do we look at when evaluating those for cardiopulmonary reconditioning? There are certain types of tools that we use for evaluating these individuals. For example, resting blood pressure, oxygen saturation and pulse, chest wall expansion and spirometry. We are all familiar with using tools like a goniometer for measuring orthopedic patients, and using this for measuring angles and also manual muscle tests. These other tools that we are using are geared towards those individuals that are coming for the cardiopulmonary program. Other tests might include a 6-minute walk test, tug, or sit to stands. We are also using newer technology like Digisol to measure gait speed or gait abnormalities. So what kind of treatments are we using for these patients? So something as simple as postural stretches and also diaphragmatic breathing. And of course, using more traditional cardiopulmonary equipment, such as a seated stepper, a treadmill, or exercise bike.
Hi, I'm Eddie St. Clair, physical therapist at West Park Rehab and Diagnostics. If you're watching this video, likely you are a member or a participant in our cardiopulmonary reconditioning program. This program was developed for individuals who had endurance problems or breathing issues that limited their ability to perform the necessary activities needed for daily living. Today we're going to begin some exercises using this. That's right, a harmonica. When an individual is learning to breathe properly, breathe deeply using their diaphragm, it is very similar to the action that occurs when you breathe in on a harmonica. For example, I'm going to breathe in. Also, a way to improve the efficiency of the oxygen that you have in your lungs is to do something called pursed lip breathing, which is like this. So you're not letting the air come out quickly. You're slowly expelling it through your lips in this position, which is also something that we do when we play harmonica. Today, lesson 1. It's going to be very simple. We're going to use this harmonica, and you should have one at home. And I'm going to use here a metronome. The metronome is going to keep some time for us. We're going to start with a very slow pace. We're going to blow out for 4 counts and then breathe in for 4 counts. And we're going to start that in sets of 4. Take a rest and then repeat. So here is the metronome. I'm going to take the harmonica and I'm going to have you blow right about in the center hole. It doesn't matter if you get a couple in there, that's still okay. So listen to this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Blow out. Now you're going to do the same drawing in. So that's 4 out and 4 in. Now we're going to do that 4 times in a row. Okay, are you ready? Ready, set, go. Good. Okay, let's rest. Just as if you were doing another exercise for a muscle, if you were doing bicep curls, after a certain number of repetitions, you just need to rest. Now, I should also mention that while you're doing these exercises, if you feel lightheaded, if you feel like you completely run out of air, either expelling or breathing, it is appropriate for you to take less deep of a breath or blow out less time. It's okay to modify. We're just starting with this one today as a beginning. So that was 1 set of 4. We're going to do that again, but this time I'm going to have you move down to the lower portion. Notice these numbers down here. It says 1. And up here it says 10. So the 1 is the low side. So I'm going to blow out into these 2 lower holes for a count of 4. 1, ready, set, go. And stop. Very good. Now we're going to rest. Give our diaphragm muscles a little break. Now when you are doing this, you should feel the muscles below your belly line expand and contract. Expand and contract. You want to try and generate this movement from below your chest. So we started off playing in the middle, and then we went low. Now we're going to go high. If there's any dogs around, be prepared. They might start howling. All right. So let's go ahead and start with the high. 4 seconds out, 4 seconds in, 4 repetitions. Ready, set, go. And rest. So that would conclude one session of practice for the day. Starting in the middle, 4 breaths out and in, rest. Going to the low end, the number 1, 4 breaths out, 4 breaths in, rest. And then finally up at the tip top. And you probably have noticed it's a little harder. The wreaths which is what you're blowing your air through, are a little stiffer on the high end. So it's actually a little harder to do than when you're way down at the bottom. So that actually concludes lesson number 1. For the next couple days or until your therapist wants you to advance, twice a day, maybe 3 times a day, perform this harmonica breathing exercise. And we look forward to treating you further in cardiopulmonary reconditioning.
We are also maintaining objective numbers, getting pulse, oxygen saturation, blood pressures. We use a handheld ECG, and subjective information using RPE numbers. So what are our goals with these individuals? Same as any other, gaining function and independence. So who is not appropriate for cardiopulmonary reconditioning? That would be somebody who had a recent cardiac procedure and is requested to do traditional cardiac rehab. Those that have more advanced conditions that require monitoring, like telemetry. Those that are under care of a pulmonologist that has requested specifically pulmonary or respiratory rehab.
So why does cardiopulmonary reconditioning exist here at West Park Rehab and Diagnostics? It's because we're providing a service that is available to individuals that don't quite fit traditional cardiac rehab or pulmonary respiratory therapy. And let me tell you exactly why. A number of years ago, I was asked to do an FCE on an individual who was looking to return to work. This individual had a physical job and they weren't certain if he was able to come back and do the demands of that job. Upon examination, his musculoskeletal system was absolutely perfect. He was strong, he was flexible. However, 2 years prior, he had had an aortic valve replacement and had received no formal treatment, evaluation following that incident or that surgery. And I asked him why that was, and he told me that because the aortic valve was not considered to be part of the heart itself, that his insurance company did not authorize him to have cardiac rehab. So in the absence of no formal cardiac rehab, he pretty much was left on his own, which he did not feel comfortable to safely push himself, not knowing what his boundaries were. So for 2 years, he did little to nothing. But it reached a point where he emotionally was ready to go back to work, but didn't know if he could do it. I called his PCP and had asked about what recommendations had been made. One of them was for formal pulmonary or respiratory therapy, but the nearest facility that provided that treatment was 45 miles away one direction. It was that day I realized that there was a population of individuals out there who didn't fit formal cardiac rehab and either didn't fit or did not have available to them formal pulmonary or respiratory. But there were a lot of individuals out there who had endurance and stamina impairments that were the primary limiting factor of them being able to engage safely in independent life and mobility in their home and community. And that is where West Park Rehab and Diagnostics Cardiopulmonary Reconditioning Program was born out of.